Despite Cuphead's ridiculous popularity in the online community at the moment, I'm sure there are still gamers wondering if this game is worth their $20. So here's a quick rundown of what the game is and what it isn't. Cuphead is a highly stylized run and gun and sort of platformer where you're tasked with defeating various bosses for storyline reasons. These bosses are by far the main feature and the game makes that very obvious. You will not like this game if you're looking for a story. You will not like this game if you're looking for character personality. You will not like this game if you're impatient, don't like old cartoons, or can't stand trial and error. You will like this game if you enjoy simple stories and directions. You will like this game if you enjoy variations of basically the same thing. You will like this game if you're easily adaptable and can handle reoccurring failure. You will like this game if you're an achievement hunter. Although you will most definitely be faced with defeat more than once, Cuphead doesn't have much of a learning or difficulty curve. Aside from getting used to the controls, how well you do, how quickly you adapt, and how fast you win are all exclusively up to you. The game will not taunt you for failure. The game will not saddle you with gimmicks. The game will not criticize your speed. The game will not spring surprises from off the screen and punish you needlessly. All statistics are for players' reference only. Almost everything in this game is entirely up to the player, and you're welcome to take all the time in the world. If you finish the game and are looking for more, the game is ready to spice things up with a brand new difficulty level and plenty of achievements to prove your mastery. As you might have concluded, the game is definitely not for everyone. It honestly bears more resemblance to the style and feel of old arcade games than it does to current popular game titles. Regardless of how well you do in other games, Cuphead will require a change of mindset. If you have trouble adapting from one situation to another or lack patience and stamina, you won't get far in this game. Despite most critics' reviews, the game is not particularly difficult though. It simply requires an approach that modern gaming hasn't used in years. If you are unable to forfeit the aggressiveness that's necessary for most modern games, you will not beat Cuphead. For me personally, Cuphead is definitely one of the most impressive and stylistically unique games of this year. Everything fits well and works smoothly. The 7 years MDHR Studios put into this game were not wasted at all. However, different people walk away with a different impression, but I personally only have like 4 actual issues with the game. First, the default control setup for PC was pretty bad. I have no idea what possessed the developers to make jump Z and shoot X when spacebar is much more suitable for either function. If Dean Takahashi actually played the game on PC, I might have forgiven him for those embarrassing 26 minutes of gameplay. But that fiasco aside, remapping the controls and getting used to them was honestly what took the longest in terms of getting started. Second, I would have liked the option to solo play as either Cuphead or Mugman. Although Mugman isn't the titular character, if you're going to include him, you might as well make him a playable one, even in solo play mode. There's apparently a fan-made file you can download to make Mugman playable, but I'm just slightly disappointed that it wasn't an option from the get-go. Third, the parry move can use some work. It's something you get better at as the game goes on, but there were way too many instances of me both pulling off the move and losing a life at the same time. You can't both reward and punish the player for the same event. Honestly, that was probably the most infuriating way to lose. Fourth, Cuphead doesn't shoot directly above himself when he shoots straight up. You'll have to remember to reposition yourself slightly to the left under floating enemies to be able to shoot them. Once again, this isn't a glitch or anything, but it can be annoying when dealing with time-sensitive enemies. Lastly, I've seen a lot of people complain about the lack of enemy health bars, and I'll admit I was also concerned and disappointed. But if you pay even a little bit of attention to how the game is structured and what it is trying to showcase, you'll realize that including any sort of health bar or indication of weakening of the bosses would be counterproductive. However, in order to not leave the player hanging, the game does provide a progress meter for each boss. And those are pretty much all the complaints you get from me. I've seen other gamers and critics complain about Cuphead not living up to their expectations of depth, story development, difficulty, lack of difficulty, etc. But frankly, they are all non-issues because it's obvious the developers never set those as goals. Before I end, I'd like to reiterate that Cuphead isn't all that difficult. It's simply different from other games, and those differences make it challenging. But challenging is not the same as brutal and unforgiving, stupidly hard, brutishly difficult, or any other exaggerated term critics are trying to assign to the game. Failure is literally built into this game, not out of obscene difficulty or punishment, but as a way to have the player observe the world and appreciate it. In Cuphead, it's entirely okay to fail, and the game never holds it over your head. Take as much time as you need. Beat a boss each day or tackle one a week. It's entirely up to you.